TDS is nothing but tax deducted at source. That means from which source you are earning the income, from there itself the tax will be deducted and the remaining amount will be credited to your account or will be given to you. Winning from arts race is how much? 8,000. So up to 10,000, no need to deduct TDS. He is earning less than 10, so no TDS will be deducted. Winning from puzzle. So here we are not calculating the tax because the exemption limit is up to 10,000. Here he is earning only 8,000. So that's why here no TDS for him. Hello everyone, I am Arun Kumar, lecturer in Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Dear students, welcome to this new session number 3 on unit number 5, that is tax deduction at source and advanced tax ruling. Yes, dear students, in the previous session we discussed about the different sections and deductions what we have under section 80C to 80U with respect to individual. If he is an individual person or if he is a HUF, that is Hindu undivided family, what and all the exemptions he can take, what and all the deductions he can take from section 80C to 80U from his gross total income. About this concept we discussed in the earlier session. So dear students, in this session we are going to discuss about the concept called the tax deduction at source, that means TDS. So here in this particular concept, dear students, you have to understand that what is TDS and who is liable to pay TDS and why the TDS is deducted. So here TDS is nothing but tax deducted at source. That means from which source you are earning the income, from there itself the tax will be deducted and the remaining amount will be credited to your account or will be given to you. For example, go to arts club and you do some, or you're going to win some, amount. Okay, let us say 50,000. So 50,000 is the income what you're earning, but they'll not give full 50,000. Okay, they deduct 30% of tax of rupees 15,000 and they'll pay you the remaining amount of 35,000. They deduct 15,000 and pay you the balance of 35,000. So here they are deducting the tax at source of income itself. That means from where you are earning the income, there itself they deduct the tax and they pay you the remaining amount. So in which kind of incomes or in what source of incomes they are going to deduct the taxes and at what rate they will be deducting the taxes. So now we will be looking into that particular aspect. So if it comes to salaries, it comes under section 192 for deduction purpose and there is no exemption limit and all. So the total average rate, the total income divided by 12 months equals TDS. That means whatever the total will come, whatever the total salary will be receiving for 12 months or for the whole year, that will be divided by 12 months. And for particular month, whatever the TDS is supposed to be payable, that much is supposed to be payable. Sometimes some employers will be deducting 10% of their salary as TDS. So what will be the 10% of your salary? For example, let us say 30,000 is your salary. What is the 10% of your 30,000? Yes, obviously it is 3,000. So every year they will be deducting 3,000 rupees of TDS from your salary account. So this is how it works with respect to salary. Next one, premature withdraw from employee provident fund. So here if you are withdrawing the provident fund for more than 50,000, then they will be deducting 10% of your withdrawn amount if you are providing the PAN card. If you are not providing the PAN card, then they will be deducting 20% of amount withdrawn. For example, if it is a PF withdrawal and you are withdrawing more than 50,000 rupees and you are not submitted the PAN card, at that time they will be deducting 20%. If you are submitting PAN card, then they deduct 10%. If you are withdrawing less than 50,000, then no TDS will be applicable on those withdrawals. Next one, interest on securities. Yes, interest on securities, it is also 10% TDS they will be deducting, and for first 10,000, that means if you are receiving the interest up to 10,000, no TDS, more than 10,000, 10% TDS. Okay, yes. The next point, interest on bank deposit and post office deposits. Yes, here also up to 10,000, no TDS, more than 10,000, they will be deducting 10% TDS. And next one, interest on securities in registered firm. Yes, up to 5,000, no TDS. More than 5,000, they will be deducting 10% of TDS. Next, winning from lottery, puzzle games. Yes, winning from lottery or puzzle game, those kind of gamblings. Up to 10,000, they won't deduct TDS. If you are winning 10,000, they won't deduct. They'll give full cash of 10,000. If you are winning more than 10,000, then they'll be deducting 30% of your total income. Next, winning from horse race, here also up to 10,000 they won't deduct. More than 10,000 they'll deduct 30% of TDS. And insurance commission for agents, yes, up to 15,000 they won't deduct anything for insurance commission. More than 15,000 they'll be deducting, yes, 5% of the income as TDS. Next one, payment in respect of LIC policy. Yes, here up to rupees 1 lakh they will not be deducting anything. If you are taking more than 1 lakh rupees, they'll be deducting 1%. Next, withdraw from National Savings Scheme, that is NSC, up to 2,500. If you are withdrawing, no TDS will be deducted. More than that, they will be deducting 10%. Next, commission on sale of lottery tickets. So up to 15,000, they will not be deducting any TDS. More than 15,000 if you are receiving, then they will be deducting 5%. Next thing is any commissions and brokerage if you are receiving, up to 15,000 no tax. More than 15,000 they will be deducting 5% of TDS. Next, transfer or sale of immovable property. So up to 50 lakh you need not to pay TDS. If you are receiving more than 50 lakhs in at the time of transferring the immovable property, then they will be charging 1% TDS if you provide PAN details. If you are not providing PAN details, then they will be deducting 20%. Next, rent paid on land and building. So up to 50,000 no TDS, more than 50,000 10%. So the 5% they will be imposing. Professional or technical fees up to 30,000 if you are receiving no TDS. More than that they will be deducting or they will be charging 10% tax. Next, any compensation for acquisition of immovable property. If you are receiving any compensation by the government for acquisition of immovable property, that is the land or the building, up to 2,50,000 if you are receiving, no tax. More than 2,50,000 they will be deducting, yes, it is 10% tax. So these are all the different rates what we have for different types of the incomes what we earn and the exemption limit also. Okay students, fine, let us solve few problems with respect to this concept, that is TDS. The first problem, from the following details of income, compute TDS amount for each transaction. So here, winning from lottery is rupees 1 lakh. So here up to 10,000 rupees, no tax. More than 10,000, they will be charging 30% of tax. So on 1 lakh, 30% means 30,000 rupees of TDS will be deducted. And Mr. Sanju, agent of LIC, earned a commission of rupees 20,000. So here also they will be charging. And rent paid on building 48,000 per month. Next, LIC amount paid to the policy holder by company on maturity of rupees 4 lakh. Interest on bank deposit 20,000. Withdraw of premature employee provident fund of rupees 53,000 without furnishing the PAN details. That means without furnishing the PAN card details. Winning from horse race 8,000. Compensation for land acquisition, it is 2,60,000. And payment to an individual contractor whose total payment during financial year is 1,50,000. So by using this information, you are supposed to find out the total TDS amount payable. So first point what we have, it is winning from lottery. So up to 10,000 exempt, but here he is earning more than that. That is, he is earning 1 lakh rupees. So compute 30% on this particular amount. Okay. If he is earning 1 lakh rupees into 30%, you calculate, the rate is changed. You calculate 30%, you will get 30,000 rupees. Okay. You will get 30,000 rupees. So now next, the commission on LIC. Okay. Commission from LIC. So 20,000 is receiving. Okay. 20,000 is receiving. Up to 15,000, no tax. More than 15, 5%. So 20,000 is receiving 5%. If you compute, you will get 1,000. Next, rent on building. So rent on building, he is receiving 48,000. So up to 50,000 if he is receiving, no tax. If he is receiving more than 50,000, then it is TDS will be deducted. LIC amount paid, how much? 4 lakh. So here the exemption, more than the exemption limit what we have. So 1% is the tax. If you compute 1%, how much you will get? You will get 4,000 rupees. Okay. Next, interest on bank deposit, how much? 20,000. So up to 10,000, no TDS will be deducted. If it is more than 10,000, then 10% of TDS. 10% on 20,000 is 2,000. Next, withdraw from PF account is 53,000. Up to 50,000 they will not be deducting. More than 50,000 they will be deducting. But here he failed to furnish the PAN details. Here they clearly mention that he fails to furnish the PAN details. So that is why we are charging 20%. So 20% on 53,000 is 10,600. Next one, winning from arts race is how much? 8,000. So up to 10,000, no need to deduct TDS. He is earning less than 10, so no TDS will be deducted. Compensation for land acquisition, 2,60,000 is given, so 10%. That means up to 2,50,000 we will not be deducting anything. More than 2,50,000, so we have more than 2,50,000. So 10% how much you will get? It is 26,000. And payment to contractor. So here they are paying the contractor to the individual contractor. So 1%. If it is for company, 2%. So 1% on 1,50,000 is 1,500. So this is how you are supposed to solve the problem. And at the end, the total you will get the total. Then that is called the total TDS payable. So it's very easy. The thing is, you have to keep in mind about the exemption, limit and the rate of tax applicable on different types of incomes. Problem number 2, from the following details of income, compute TDS amount for each transaction. The first one, winning from puzzle game. Next, lump sum amount or the payment to a contractor X Limited, that means it's a company, 40,000. Dividend from a company other than listed company, 50,000. Interest on securities, 15,000. Commission earned by an insurance agent is rupees 40,000. Sale of building, rupees 49 lakhs. Withdraw from National Savings Scheme, 5,000. And rent paid on building is rupees 68,000 per month. LIC amount paid to the policy holder by company on maturity is 2 lakhs. And withdraw of premature employee provident fund is rupees 53,000. So in this, the same format, no changes in the format. The first is what we have? Winning from puzzle. So here we are not calculating the tax because the exemption limit is up to 10,000. Here he is earning only 8,000. So that's why here no TDS for him. Next point, lump sum payment to a contractor, that is X Limited. So what is the amount he is receiving? He is receiving 40,000. If it is individual, 1% TDS will be deducted. If it is a company, then 2% TDS will be deducted. The amount is 800 because it's a company. Next, dividend from a company other than listed company. That means here the company is not listed, it is non-listed. Again, amount receiving is 50,000. Dividend is up to 10,000, no tax. But here it is more than that. So 10%. So 5,000 will be the TDS amount. Next, interest on securities. So up to 10,000 is exempt, but here it is more than 10. So 10% tax is applicable, 1,500. Very easy. Next, commission earned by an insurance agent is how much? 40,000. So more than the exemption limit. So 5% is the rate of TDS applicable. 2,000 is the TDS amount. Next, sale of building. So up to 50 lakh, no TDS will be deducted. So here the amount he received is less than 50 lakh. So no TDS will be deducted. Next one, withdrawn from National Savings Scheme, that is from NSC. So 5,000 is receiving, 10%, you'll get 500 rupees is the TDS amount. So the next point, rent on building, rent paid on building. Here the rent received is more than 50,000 because the exemption limit is 50. If you have more than 50, you will be calculating 5%. So 68,000 into 5%, 3,400. Next, LIC amount paid to the policy holder. Yes, it is 2 lakh rupees. 10% is the TDS, 20,000 you will get. Next, withdraw of premature employee provident fund. Yes, again here they are not mentioned whether you furnish the PAN card details or not. So we assume that the PAN card details are furnished and we calculate 10% TDS because the amount is more than 50,000. So you will get 5,300. So this is how you are supposed to compute. At the end total it, you will get the total. The total will be called as the total TDS deducted. Moving further, problem number 3. So in this problem also we have few incomes. So from the following details of income, compute TDS amount for each transaction. So first point, sale of land to a resident rupees 55 lakhs without furnishing PAN. So here it is more than 50 lakhs, then obviously tax is applicable. The two without PAN, yes, obviously 20% of TDS is applicable on this transaction. Next, compensation for acquisition of building, 2,65,000. That means up to 2,50,000 it is nil. More than 2,55,000 it is chargeable. It is more than 2,50,000, so it is chargeable. Next, technical fees collected. Yes, up to 30,000 it is not, the TDS is not applicable. The amount is more than 30,000, so TDS is applicable. So winning from lottery up to 10,000 it is not applicable. More than 10,000, 30% is applicable. So here it is applicable. TDS is applicable. Next, LIC payment to policy holder. Yes, obviously it is applicable to this transaction also. TDS is applicable. Next, payment made to a contractor, Mr. B, is rupees 20,000. However, the total payment in the financial is 1,50,000. Next, interest on bank deposit is rupees 6,000. So here we will not be calculating TDS because the exemption limit is up to 10,000. So they are receiving less than 10,000. So no TDS. Winning from card games 12,000. Yes, it is more than 10,000. So 30% of TDS is applicable. So let us solve the problem. Sale of land. Yes, as I said, they are not mentioned they are not provided the PAN card details. So 55 lakh into 20%, you will get 11 lakh rupees. So 11 lakh is supposed to pay as TDS on his total income of 55,000, 55 lakhs. Next, compensation for acquisition of other sources. So here the composition for acquisition, composition for acquisition by the government. So how much he is receiving? He is receiving 2,65,000. So 10% because amount is more than 2,50,000. 10% is 26,500. Next, technical fees collected. Obviously 10% is applicable because it is more than 30,000. Up to 30 it is exempt. Here we have more than 30. So 10%, 3,500 is the tax applicable. Next, winning from lottery, it is 40,000. So 30% on 40,000, how much you will get? Obviously you will get 12,000. Got it? Next point, LIC payment of rupees 1 lakh. So 1% is applicable, that is 1,000. Next, payment to contractor, it is 1,50,000. They are only mentioned that the total payment in the financial is 1,50,000. So 1% is applicable. It is paid to an individual. So 1,500. Next, interest on bank deposit. Here interest on bank deposit is 6,000. So less than the exemption limit of 10,000. So no TDS will be deducted here because they are receiving only 6,000. Winning from card games, they are receiving 12,000 rupees. They are receiving 12,000 rupees and here the tax is applicable because the amount is more than the exemption limit of rupees 30,000. So the exemption limit of rupees 10,000. So here compute 30% on 12,000, you will get 3,600. So now total it, you will get the total. The total will be called as the total TDS amount payable. So this is how you are supposed to compute the TDS amount if they give the different incomes, and you should also have the knowledge of what is the exemption limit and what is the rate of tax applicable. About this and all, if you have the knowledge, so easily you can solve the problems, and they might ask this kind of questions in the main exam for 10 marks also. So study well, and it is very easy also. You can score very good marks if you learn this exemption limit and the rate of TDS applicable on different transactions. So with this, I'm going to wind up this session. I'll come up with few more new topics. Until then, thank you all. Have a nice day. Namaste.